When me and my mom weren't getting along very well, me and him would talk about how to deal with it, and I'd tell him how I felt about it, and he'd help me through it. They weren't anything bad.
Hannah Anderson talking about James DiMaggio. In the wake of Hannah's kidnapping and the murders of her mother and brother, investigators are still struggling to piece together answers to the most important question: why? Those answers may have died with DiMaggio, killed in the raid that freed Hannah. But tonight, the person closest to DiMaggio speaks out. His sister, Lora DiMaggio. She joins me exclusively for her first interview since her brother's death. Lora, thank you for joining me. Obviously, a very difficult time for you and for your family, for everyone connected with this. Have you got any answers to the questions that I'm sure you've been asking yourself about what your brother's alleged to have done?
What specific answer? What specific questions would you be referring to?
Do you know why he did it?
How do you know that he did it? Would be my question for you. There's no evidence. The only evidence that has come forward at this point is the fact that the two bodies were found on his property. I think there's a lot of holes in the case. There's a lot of missing information. I have yet to see any solid evidence.
What do you think happened?
In my heart of hearts, I think that Hannah perhaps got herself into a situation that she couldn't get herself out of, and I do believe that my brother gave his life to protect her.
Do you really believe that, Lora?
I do.
I mean, all the evidence points to him having left a sort of booby-trapped property which set fire and killed Hannah's mother and her little brother. He then took Hannah, we know indisputably, on this huge, long road trip, way out of anywhere that he'd ever been with her before. Why would he do all this if he was a completely innocent man?
Well, let's start with the first thing that you went over, the booby-trapping of the house. I've known my brother for years. He had trouble setting his water thermostat on his jacuzzi. My brother was one of the kindest people you've ever met in your life. He worked diligently to save animals. He was not only a father figure and an uncle to the Anderson children, he was to many other people as well. The man that I know him to be, it doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And for me, I need facts and I need evidence, real facts.
Obviously, the police are making it pretty clear that they believe he did set fire to the house, that he did commit a double murder, and that he kidnapped Hannah and took her away, and that he was in a shootout then with the police, which is, that part of it certainly is indisputable. He was. Many people watch this and think they understand why.
Is it indisputable? Is it really?
That he was in a shootout with police?
Right.
You don't believe that either?
Well, I know one thing for sure. I was in touch with the FBI and the U.S. Marshals and San Diego PD that entire week. They know that my brother and I were best friends, and we were all that we had left in our family, in our immediate family. They know that they could have flown me to Idaho in a moment's notice. I could have been there in 3 hours, and I could have talked to him, give me a megaphone, and I would have talked to him straight out of there. And he could have come home and had a trial as he deserves, as anyone in this country deserves.
What was he doing there?
In Idaho?
Yeah, why was he with this young, just-turned 16 girl? I mean, that's not what a man of his age should be doing. Have you answered that to yourself?
I know that he thought of Hannah as a daughter. I know that the wilderness up there, it is some of the most beautiful terrain that you'll ever see in the world. And that's one of the things that my brother and I enjoyed doing together, doing separately. You've heard Andrew Spanswick speak about how they went to Yosemite. My brother and I went to Mount Whitney. That's what we enjoyed doing.
You were very close to James.
Yes.
How close?
He was my best friend. He was my brother. He was my father. He was everything to me. He was the person that I called if I had a question about life, love, career, anything. He was my first person that I called. He was my best friend.
Is part of your reaction to this, do you think? A sense of denial? I've got to put that to you, that you just don't want to believe that your brother could be capable of such a monstrous act as the police believe he committed?
Well, again, we're coming back to, I've still seen no evidence. No, sheriffs, the San Diego sheriffs have basically said that the case is closed.
Well, the police report, of course, says that he tortured both Christina and Ethan, Hannah's mother and brother,
Right.
that he set fire to the house and burned them as well to death, and that he kidnapped Hannah and took her away. I mean, these are things the police have made very clear from their point of view happened.
Well, where's the evidence?
But if it wasn't him, who was it?
I don't know. That's what I want to find out.
But he's the guy who took Hannah to the middle of nowhere. What other explanation do you have?
Do you believe everything a 16-year-old tells you?
We think she's just lying.
I'm not going to speak to that.
I mean, you know Hannah Henderson. You know the family well.
I do.
Do you believe that there is a reason why she wouldn't be telling the truth? Do you think
I
she
know
went...
that the Hannah Anderson that I saw a few nights ago on the TV is certainly not the girl that stayed in my home 3 weeks prior to them disappearing.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I remember very vividly telling my brother, she's trouble. I said, you need to watch out for that one. She's trouble. She was, they came into my home, was very gracious. She didn't, say thank you once. She had on, extremely heavy eye makeup. Just just didn't strike me as I don't know. I don't want to bash anyone. It's certainly not my intent.
But if as you believe, she was trouble, then it may well be that your brother became infatuated with her.
Well, I know that she said she was. I know that Jim did express at that time that she stated that she was very upset. Her mother. She blamed her mother for her father moving to Tennessee. It was didn't appear to me. It did concern me at the time.
I mean, look, there'll be people watching this who'll be saying, "Come on,
right.
Laura, you've got to face facts." We understand that you're his only surviving sibling. We're going to get in after the break into the background of very troubled upbringing you both had and the very close relationship.
Right.
But in the end, if it's the police saying all this stuff, and they are absolutely convinced that there is no doubt that your brother was a double murderer and torturer and kidnapper, it may be that you have to face the reality that he just flipped, that he became obsessed with Hannah, that he planned this road trip with her, that he cracked up, that he set fire to this house, that he disposed of the two people who may be able to expose his story, whatever it may be, that he just became somebody that you wouldn't recognize as your brother.
Well, I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. When they can show me evidence, then I will deal with it at that time.
Let's take a short break. We'll come back and have more of this because I wasn't expecting you to say some of this stuff, and I want to go over it in more detail with you.